presentation in association with the Toronto Blue Jays.
I'm one of those guys, I like spreading positivity.
If you're coming to the ballgame, bring your rainbows.
Incredible atmosphere, full of electricity.
When I love you most of all is when you're unapologetically you.
We live in a world now where people like to give outside opinions, but for me, I love everyone for who they are and whatever they're about. I accept you, and I think we need more of that.
It's going to be a rocking place there at Rogers Center.
With that, I just want everyone to know whatever your preferences are in life, you can be loved, you will be loved.
Just shine on through.
The roof is open and the rainbows are out at the Rogers Center as Pride Weekend is upon us. The Blue Jays tonight open a series against the Minnesota Twins. Let's take you to the broadcast booth where Dan Schulman is with Buck Martinez.
Jamie, a couple of weeks ago when the Blue Jays got to Minneapolis, playing the team they're playing tonight here at home, they started playing, Buck, some much better baseball. 10-3 in their last 13. And really, it's been led by good pitching.
Boy, good pitching has really set the tone for this ball club lately. And anytime you can go 10-3, I don't care who you're playing, that is a real bonus. And look at the entire pitching staff has made a contribution here. The starters ERA, very impressive, just over 1.5. The bullpen has been phenomenal. Their ERA is under 1. And as an entire pitching staff, the opponent's batting average is under 200. And when you look at the individuals that have made big contributions, of course, Kevin Gausman's having a terrific season, 13 strikeouts in his last outing. Jose Barrios looks like the Jose Barrios that pitched for the Minnesota Twins. Eric Swanson has really utilized that splitter very effectively. And what can you say about Jordan Romano? He is 7 for his last 7. And oh, by the way, let's don't forget Yusei Kikuchi, who starts here tonight. Kikuchi has pitched very well in this ballpark. His ERA just over 3.5 per game. He needs to use his curveball. That's been a very good pitch for him lately. And tonight, Tyler Henneman, the catcher, is going to use that curveball. And hopefully that will really continue this streak of great pitching.
You could throw Colson Bassett's dad into that graphic as well, Jamie. Chris Bassett has been outstanding as well. A lot of good performances by pitchers as the Blue Jays start a new series tonight against the visiting Twins.
Well, Dan, let's see if Kikuchi can pick up on that vibe. There is Leslie Lee Tan, the co-chair of Pride Toronto, throwing out the ceremonial first pitch to Kevin Gausman tonight. We hope you sit back and enjoy tonight's ball game here on Sportsnet. It comes your way next.
Rogers Center opens up a 3-game series between the Blue Jays and the Minnesota Twins. A big crowd in the house tonight. Dan Schulman, Buck Martinez, and Arden Zwelling with you as the Blue Jays coming off 3 wins in 4 games against the Houston Astros. Trying to keep the good times rolling. They've got Yusei Kikuchi on the mound to open up this series with the Twins. Remember, the Jays took 2 of 3 from the Twins just a couple of weeks ago back in Minneapolis. Minnesota, not a great offensive team, and they've got key players injured right now. Byron Buxton, Joey Gallo on the IL, Jorge Polanco day-to-day with a hamstring injury. Carlos Correa's got great numbers against Yusei Kikuchi, but he's only hitting .210 on the season. This is a team that has scored only 7 runs in its last 6 games.
And they have a very good pitching staff, but they are under 500 as we speak. Yusei Kikuchi has pitched well in this ballpark, and the Blue Jays as a team have won 9 of his 12 starts. So he's looking to continue this great run of pitching. I want to see that curveball. It was an effective pitch for him last time. He threw 20 curveballs in the game, 14 of them for strikes. It's a key to his success.
And he fires in a fastball for a called strike to Donovan Solano to get this game and this series underway. The roof is open here tonight at Rogers Center. Tyler Heineman doing the catching, second start in a row where Kikuchi's been on the mound, that Heineman has been behind the plate. There's that curveball, Buck.
Yeah, it's important to get it into the mix early on, so you put it into the Twins hitters' minds and you throw it early in the ball game, and they all make note. Everybody is watching the first inning. Everybody's really paying close attention to that first inning, and he's already got the curveball into the mix.
Just something to give him a bit of a velocity difference from the big fastball, the hard slider, the hard split change.
Well, it makes the hitters pause just for a second, and the slider is hard. The fastball, of course, is hard, but that curveball is 5 miles an hour slower than his slider.
The slider sent to right. Biggio going back, and he'll have to play it off the wall. It caroms out to Varsho, the center fielder, who alertly backed up the play and gets it back into the infield. Solano with a leadoff double.
Yeah, Varsho coming all the way over from center field was there to back up the play as Cavan drifted back on this ball. This is that slider, and it just stays out over the plate. Solano hammers it the opposite way. It'll go off the top of the fence. And Cavan playing just the 8th time in right field. You saw he got close to that, and there's Dalton Varsho coming all the way over from the center to back up the play and keep Solano to a double.
Now Willie Castro, switch hitter, right fielder, batting in the 2 spot. Castro hitting .256 with 5 home runs. A former Tiger. This is his first year with the Twins. And Kikuchi gets that fastball right on by him. 0-2.
You mentioned 5 home runs. He's hit 2 of those home runs against the Blue Jays. He got Chris Bassett in Minneapolis. He also took Adam Simber deep in Minnesota.
He can play all over the field. He has appeared in the big leagues at second base, shortstop, third base, left field, center field, right field. Lots of starts at 6 different positions for Willie Castro. Kikuchi out in front, 1-2. Got a piece of it to stay alive.
It's another curveball that gets into the mix. And obviously, leadoff double. That number 2 hitter is trying to really focus on at least advancing him from second to third.
A bouncer to short. The runner has to retreat, and Bichette will throw out Castro, 1 down.
Well, let's take a look at the defense. A little bit unusual lineup here in the outfield, especially with Merrifield and Biggio playing in the outfield for the first time together. No Kevin Kiermaier, George Springer getting the night off. Dalton Varsho making his 17th start in center. Chapman, Bichette, Espinal at second for the 19th time. Vladdy Guerrero over first, and Tyler Heineman, as Dan mentioned, catching Kikuchi for a second straight start.
Number 3 hitter for the Minnesota Twins is left fielder Kyle Garlick, hitting just 192. Got a couple of home runs on the season, an OPS of 712, as you can see. Very open stance, although he closes it quite a bit as the pitch is coming into the plate.
Garlick had a 2-homer game against Kikuchi. The last time you say pitched against the Twins, that was last year.
Broke in with the Dodgers, a little time with the Phillies, 3rd year with Minnesota, hit 9 home runs in all last year. Again, Byron Buxton is on the IL with bruised ribs. Joey Gallo is on the IL, got a hamstring issue. And then Jorge Polanco suffered a hamstring injury a couple of days ago. He's day-to-day, and it kind of sounds like they might eventually put him on the IL the next couple of days. Those would be 3 of their best hitters if they're healthy.
Yeah, there are 3 regulars that are out of the lineup and not available for Rocco Baldelli.
They are 31 and 32, and in the American League Central, that is good enough to be in first place. They are a game and a half ahead of Cleveland, in spite of the fact they are below 500. They have the exact same record as the Boston Red Sox, who are in last place in the American League East, 14 games out of first.
Yeah, Minnesota's lost 5 in a row as they've really fallen upon hard times, and they've not had a very good offensive ball club. They can pitch, and we're going to see one of their best tonight in Sonny Gray.
And they have struck out more than any other team in baseball, and it's not even really close. They have struck out a ton.
A couple of days ago, Rocco Baldelli sat in the hitters meeting to just understand where his hitters were, and since then they've been very aggressive early in the count to avoid those 2-strike counts.
Another ground ball to short. Again, the runner goes back, and again Bichette will throw him out. 2 down.
We mentioned it, after you get a leadoff double, you try to move that runner along, but so far a couple of ground balls to the shortstop, and Solano at second just has to stay right on the bag. No place to go. Now Kikuchi's got to finish it off.
The cleanup hitter is by far the biggest name in this lineup, and that is Carlos Correa, in the first year of a 6-year, $200 million contract. And as we mentioned, not having a great year. He's had some plantar fasciitis issues, missed a couple games here and there. Obviously an extraordinarily talented player, but not off to a great start this year. So remember, he was going to be a Giant, and then he was going to be a Met, but both of those teams kind of got cold feet, no pun intended, about signing him because of the injury history that he's had. So he winds up going back to Minnesota for a second year.
He's had good numbers against Kikuchi, hitting .500, 9 for 18, and you know what, with the base open, I certainly wouldn't give in to him. Get a fresh start with a guy behind him, Kyle Farmer.
And he walks him on 4 pitches.
That's not a bad walk. You had an open base, a guy that's worn you out in the past, and you just certainly didn't want to give him anything to hit in that situation once you had fallen behind.
So first and second, 2 down. And here is Kyle Farmer, the second baseman, hitting .270. His first year with the Twins, formerly with the Dodgers and with the Reds, in his 7th year in the big leagues.
I played every day the last couple of years in Cincinnati. He had the most at bats in each of those last 2 years, any point in his career. Last year with the Reds, he had 14 homers and 78 RBIs.
Kikuchi's got it and makes a good throw to Guerrero to get him, and he pitches around that leadoff double here in the top of the first.
Big boom in the room, can't handle us.
Getting a scheduled night off. That means Bo Bichette is up into the leadoff spot tonight. He's about the last guy the Minnesota Twins want to see, because Bo absolutely tore it up against the Twins in the series in Minneapolis a couple of weeks ago. 7 for 13 with a couple of home runs. Santiago Espinal in there at second base. As Buck told you, Merrifield and Biggio both in the outfield. Heineman doing the catching, and they will take on a guy having about as good a season as anybody so far this year in Sonny Gray.
Sonny Gray got off to a great start when he came up with Oakland. He pitched at Vanderbilt University, a great pitching college, and he was #1 pick of the Oakland A's. Came out up and down season, spent some time with New York, spent some time in Cincinnati, but he's really bounced back this year because of his success with the curveball.
And he got that one just enough in on the hands of Bichette for him to fly out to left center, one down.
Yeah, Sonny Gray, we mentioned a good season. He got off to a great start this year. In his first 6 starts, he went 4-0 with an ERA under 1. Not so good and not so dominant over his last 6 starts. 0-1 with a .366 earned run average, but overall, he's pitched very well. The Twins, unlike the Blue Jays, they're just 6-6 in his starts, basically because they don't have a lot of offense.
Kind of crazy in a very impressive sort of way. 67 innings pitched. He's allowed only 1 home run. It came in his last start, as Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is up into the 2 spot tonight. Gray can really mix it up. He will throw 6 different pitches: curveball, 4-seamer, sinker, sweeper, changeup, and that was the cutter.
Yeah, he's a guy that doesn't have outstanding velocity. Vladdy just asked for time to gather his thoughts a little bit. But he, kind of like Chris Bassett, will make you think about a lot of different pitches, and chances are he won't fall into a pattern where you can say, okay, that pitch leads to this pitch, which leads to this pitch. He mixes it up very effectively. He's now 33 years old, and he's pitched quite a bit.
And he gets Guerrero to chase. A breaking ball down and away, 2 down.
Yeah, again, the sequencing very effective for Sonny Gray. And he's just one of those guys, and this is more of a curveball. You can see it's got good depth, and that curveball is a pitch that he's incorporated a lot more this year than he has in the past. And Vladdy is way out in front, fooled by velocity and certainly overmatched with the break.
Now Brandon Belt swings at the first pitch, sends it to deep right, but it is caught on the track by Castro. He gave it a ride, but not quite far enough, as the Blue Jays go in order.
Center. Remember the discussion around Yusei Kikuchi last year as he was struggling mightily? He needs to throw his fastball more often, lean on the fastball. Well, things are going pretty well for him this year, so he must be leaning on the fastball, right? Not so fast. Yusei Kikuchi has been throwing more breaking balls than fastballs in 2 of his last 3 outings. Look at the curveball usage here. His last start, he threw it nearly a quarter of a time, threw 64% breaking balls against the Mets on the weekend. And it really is that new curveball that you've been hearing Buck highlighting throughout the first inning for Kikuchi. He just learned it this spring, grips it similarly to his slider, just throws it slower from a different arm angle, which is what gives it that vertical movement and a bit less horizontal than his slider. It's been very effective for him this year. It's generating a whiff 30% of the time that hitters swing at it. He's landing it in the zone over half the time, and so far, guys, he's given up only 5 hits on curveballs this season, 4 singles and a double.
Mark, thank you. Always good to incorporate or reincorporate another pitch. That just gives the hitters one more thing to think about.
Yeah, and you know, his fastball and his slider are very hard, and you get timing those pitches very effectively. Everything's the same, and then when he gets the curveball in there as often as he does for a strike, like I said before, it gives you a little hesitation, and then that fastball gets a little bit better.
Off the outside corner, a ball and 2 strikes on Ryan Jeffers, who was the designated hitter for the Twins tonight. He broke in with the Twins back in 2020, and he's got an impressive OPS 847 so far this year. But not this time. That's a hard slider by Kikuchi to get him 1 down.
Yeah, Yusei's arsenal is very effective, and you can see the grip, and he's going to create that football-like spin, almost like a spiral when you throw a football, and that creates the desired breakdown, and then he swings over the top of it. First strikeout of the ball game for Yusei.
So here's Royce Lewis, the third baseman. First pitch swinging, and he might have broken his bat as he loops it into shallow right for a base hit.
Yeah, every player in baseball will trade a broken bat for a base hit, and Lewis, well, he's had his share of injuries, and Kikuchi comes back with the slider, and this one gets in the kitchen right down around the label, but Lewis with a big swing fights it off and flares it into right field.
Former first overall pick out of high school back in 2017. All kinds of injuries, 2 torn ACLs, so he didn't make his major league debut until last year. But a guy with a lot of ability, plays with a lot of energy, kind of feels like he gives everybody else on the team a spark when he's healthy. He's at first with 1 out, and here's a familiar face, Christian Vasquez, all those years with the Boston Red Sox, but now a member of the Twins.
Nah, he's a good player. He is a leader behind the plate. He exerts his personality on the pitching staff, and he can do some damage from time to time with the bat.
Eight and a half years with the Red Sox, was traded to Houston for the stretch run last year. Of course, was part of a World Series championship team. And then in the offseason, he signed a 3-year, $30 million contract to move to Minnesota. Hey. 2-0 curveball looked like there, and it's in for a strike.
Yeah, Vasquez was the catcher when the Astros threw the no-hitter in the postseason last year. They had a combined no-hitter in that postseason.
Just missed low. Kikuchi wanted that one and didn't get it. It's 3-1. In some games, his command has been impeccable. I mean, looking like a different guy than he was last year. In a couple of recent games, not as much, including just 2 starts ago where he walked 5 against the Brewers. That's hooked foul, 3-2.
Then one of those curveballs, and you could see how far out in front Vasquez was, anticipating a little more velocity from Kikuchi, and he hit it square, but he was out in front and pulled it foul. That's what you want. You want the hitter to be on his front foot. He doesn't have the same drive when he gets out on that front foot when you change speeds on him.
throw to first, and boy, it looked like Lewis was running on the 3-2 pitch, and the Blue Jays tried to catch him napping and pick him off, but he got back in time.
You see, Vladdy will break back, and you're right. Lewis took a half a step towards second as if he was running.
He's not going. And Vasquez lines the ball to right center field. Varsho is there. I'll tell you, there might not be anybody in baseball who can fill in center field and look like Kevin Kiermaier, but Varsho does a really good job when he takes the spot.
Yeah, he sure does, and he gets great reads on the ball and contact. And, you know, I think his catcher background helps him a lot in all the different situations because he understands the ball headed toward the hitter, outer half of the plate. He's going to lean in that direction, and then he got a good jump on that. He gets some of the best routes and jumps on baseballs, whether it's in left field or center field. He's got a good knack for reading the ball off the bat.
There's a pretty good center fielder in his own right, Michael A. Taylor. Now in his 10th year in the big leagues, most of them with Washington. Last couple with Kansas City, traded in the offseason to the Twins. Just a .228 hitter, but has always been thought of as more of a defensive player than an offensive player.
.241 career average, and boy, given the defense that he provides, that's not bad. Hitting in the ninth spot, just like Kevin Kiermaier.
.3-0 on Taylor.
Taylor had a couple pretty good home run seasons for the Nationals. Hit 19 home runs in 2017 and had 14 in 2015. There's a little pop in there.
And right now it looks like when Kikuchi wants to get back into a count or wants to throw a pitch in the zone, he's relying on the curveball.
Yeah, and we mentioned how frequently he threw strikes with it last time out. 14 of his 20 curveballs were thrown for strikes. I believe every pitcher has to have a pitch in his mind that he can throw a strike anytime, whether it's a fastball to a certain part of the zone or a breaking ball that you're confident you can flip in there for a strike.
And another little flare, but this one is caught. Espinal going into shallow right to make a nice catch to retire Taylor and the Twins.
Download the Bet365 app and check out the latest odds for today's baseball games.
Bottom of the second inning as the Blue Jays and Twins open up this weekend series. No score in this game. Glad to see the roof open. The air quality has started to improve, and again sending our best to everybody across the country who's been dealing with the forest fires and the aftermath of that with the smoke and the air quality. Hope things are getting better and that things are starting to get under control wherever you may be. Matt Chapman to lead it off for the Blue Jays here against Sonny Gray. And that's just outside, a ball and a strike. These guys were teammates in the 2017 season with the Oakland A's. That was Gray's last season with Oakland and Chapman's rookie year. This is popped up wide of first, and Solano has room in foul territory.
Yeah, you mentioned they were teammates. Sonny Gray only made 16 starts that year. He was 6-5 and had a good ERA, but he's had his moments. He's pitched in the postseason 4 different times, and in 2013 with the Oakland A's against Detroit, he made 2 appearances. Unfortunately, in Game 5 of that division series, he matched up against Justin Verlander, and Verlander threw 8 innings of 2 hit shutout ball to defeat the Oakland A's against Sonny Gray.
Here's a guy looking to break through against Gray. Whit Merrifield is 0 for 14 in his career against Sonny Gray. I think a very solid .296 this season overall.
Now, when you look at the leaderboard in batting average, Whit's right there with Bo Bichette leading the way, and then Whit Merrifield is in the top 10 in the American League. He's number 9, just ahead of Riley Green. Whit, like Bo Bichette, is a very good high ball hitter. So you would think that Sonny Gray is going to focus on getting that cutter downstairs and maybe throwing him a few more off-speed pitches rather than a fastball upstairs.
The 1-2. Line to center. Got a fastball up in the zone. And took it right back where it came from. His first career hit against Gray.
Yeah. Whit is a .372 hitter when he gets the ball up in his zone. And this is a 2-seamer. And they throw it up in his zone, right in his wheelhouse. And that's what he's been doing all year long when he gets that fastball up high, about a letter high. Just takes it right back up the middle. And he's probably going to ask for that baseball. Hey. He's now 1 for 15 against Sonny Gray and a threat to run.
Yeah, will he test the combination of Gray and Vasquez? Vasquez has thrown out 24% of opposing base stealers, 6 out of 25. Sonny Gray's only had 3 guys attempt to steal when he's been on the mound, and 2 of them have made it.
Yeah, it's really on the pitcher to give his catcher an opportunity to throw a runner out. You know, they do all the studies. What's his release time? What's the catcher's pop time? And, you know, you want to have about a 3.5 second to 3.75 time combined to allow you to run.
And word's gotten around the league quickly that Whit Merrifield is being very aggressive this year. He's already got as many stolen bases this year as he had all of last year. He is 16 for 19 on the season. Not going. And Varsho sends a fly ball to right. Caught on the track by Castro. 2 down as Merrifield gets back to the bag.
You know, that ball looked like it came off the bat a little better than it carried. And there have been some players talking about this lately, how they feel like the ball isn't responding like it has the last couple of years. Maybe this ball's a little bit softer. It certainly looked like that ball was going to be up against the wall, maybe even carry over the wall, but it just didn't carry. Didn't have real good sound to it, but it came off the bat in pretty good shape.
So now the Twins are really thinking that Merrifield might be running with 2 outs and Espinal at the plate, and it's pretty good logic. You would think with a guy like Espinal up there, Merrifield might try to get into scoring position early in this AB. And Gray falls down, and that's a balk. Lost his footing, and Merrifield will get to second the easy way.
Yeah, that's unusual, and I don't know if he caught his spike when he was trying to land that front foot, and I'm sure Rocco Baldelli wants to send a trainer out there, but he's doing some cleanup on the rubber, on that clay in front of the rubber. But watch how that front foot, oh, he did catch his spike on the clay against the rubber, and it kind of threw him off balance. And that's the area. It was unusual. Most of the time you see a pitcher kind of catch their lead foot on the dirt in front. Fortunately, he's okay, and he can smile about it. But it is a balk, and there's a runner in scoring position.
For Espinal. Espinal at second base tonight, hitting in the 7 spot, hitting 200 on the season. Recently back from the IL, had a quick stint there with a hamstring injury. Speaking of which, Danny Jansen is now with the Buffalo Bisons, who are in Toledo tonight, and Jansen is batting second and in there catching, and the hope is that Jansen will spend the weekend with Buffalo in Toledo, and if all goes well, fly to Baltimore and be with the team for the series that starts Tuesday. The plan is either catcher DH catcher this weekend or catcher off day catcher this weekend, depending on how things go tonight.
Yeah, and they certainly hope everything goes well. And you know, don't really know. You can do all the practicing you want, but until you get into a game and feel the intensity of a live game, you're not going to know how healthy you are.
Down and away, and it's 3-1.
But Merrifield is working for a good lead, and obviously with 2 outs, you want to have a big secondary lead. And you say he's trying to stay loose in the dugout. He's ready to go. Got his glove on and ready to go.
Big swing and a miss, 3-2. Gray's velocity is not elite. His spin rate, though, on his fastball is among the very best. So that means it'll kind of have more ride, more carry. The velocity will stay true a little bit more. So if it says 92, it probably feels like maybe more like 94 to a batter. Ground ball to short. Correa comes to get it and throws out Espinal as the Blue Jays are retired, leaving Merrifield aboard here in the bottom of the second. Have already grown to love the park within a park vibes of TD Park Social, located in the 500 level outfield. Be sure to check out all of the new outfield district spaces on your next trip to the Rogers Center. Great ticket options are available at bluejays.com/outfield district. Big crowd here on a Friday night. Pride weekend here at the ballpark. no score, top of the third, and the top of the order. First baseman Donovan Solano, who doubled his first time up, but never got any further than that in the top of the first. One and one. Solano, 35 years of age, from Colombia. He has been with the Marlins, the Yankees, the Giants, the Reds, and now in his 10th year in the big leagues with Minnesota. Has never truly been a full-time guy. 200 to 300 at bats a season. Career .277 hitter, though. Not a lot of pop. He won a Silver Slugger Award. That was in 2020, the COVID shortened season, the 60-game season. He appeared in 54 games that year and hit .326, and so he can say he's won a Silver Slugger.
Yeah, that year with the Giants, and he played primarily at second base.
One hopper to short. Bo Bichette's been busy so far tonight. One down.
And he had a couple of ground ball plays in the first inning after the leadoff double by Solano, and this time he gets a one hopper right at him.
So now Willie Castro. 9 right-handed batters in the lineup for the Twins tonight against Kikuchi, one of them being a switch hitter, and that's Castro. They've got 3 lefties, and then Polanco, who we don't think is able to play. So really they're down a man, and Rocco Baldelli's got 3 left-handed bats on the bench tonight. Popped up back of the plate. Heineman does it just like you're supposed to. Hangs on to that mask for a while till he finds the ball, and then throws it as far away as he can.
Yeah. Yeah, always got to make sure he knew the umpire is, so you don't smoke him with that mask. But he did a good job.
Yeah.
He located it. Watch how he finds the baseball. Where is it? Before he moves, okay, there it is. Now I don't have to move too far because it's coming back toward fair territory.
He could have hit Chapman with that mask, too. And now Kyle Garlick with a ground ball right at Espinal, and Yusei Kikuchi makes quick work of the Twins in the top of the third. The bottom of the third for the Blue Jays, and he has been swinging the bat better the last 5 or 6 weeks. I asked him today around the cage what's gone differently, the changes he's making, and first he told me when the change started. He said it all goes back to an at bat I had at Fenway Park when I hit a double. So I found that online. Here's the video through the magic of television, and he has talked about, Buck, a flatter bat path. The bat is in the zone longer, trying to hit the ball hard, not trying to raise the ball, lift the ball, just trying to hit the ball hard. He's content with line drives and even hard ground balls. He was telling me, I remember a ball in this series was 106, this was 104, very in tune with exit velocities. and he's just thinking about hitting the ball hard somewhere. And I think as a result of him, he was showing me, and I'm not great at mechanics, but he was showing me with his hands in his front shoulder with a flatter bat path, maybe using the whole field a little bit more, not exclusively a pull hitter. And he's feeling like the change has really helped him and has made him more like the hitter that he was at the beginning of his career. And if you look at the exit velocity, under 80 in April, over 91 miles an hour. That's a big change for those who don't know. But it all started with that double that night at Fenway Park.
When you have a flatter bat plane, it stays on the baseball longer. And when you try to lift it, it's almost like a V swing. It's in and out of the hitting zone so quickly, but you have to stay on the baseball. And we have seen that with a lot of the Blue Jays hitters. That's a tough pitch, that two-seamer inside, and Sonny Gray's always been able to do that. Sonny Gray learned this pitch, this two-seam fastball, by watching Bartolo Colon. He watched Bartolo Colon when they were teammates, and Colon, obviously, he threw more of these than anybody in baseball. He threw basically nothing but two-seam fastballs and had a terrific career. But Sonny used to watch Bartolo watching video and watch him breaking it down, and he would throw that two-seamer in there dramatically.
Look at this. That's going to hit the base. A bunt single for Tyler Heineman.
Heads up play by the catcher. You know what? He doesn't get to play an awful lot, and he'll give you everything he's got behind the plate. See the third baseman? He's not even in the picture right there, so Heineman picked up on that and then just gets it down the line. Blue Jays, especially the extra players, they come out and bunt a lot. Just we'll see how the ball will track up that foul line, and that one stayed true. And Sonny Gray has called his catcher out right now. He wanted to talk things over with Vasquez. Now Correa wants to know what's going on.
You know, back to Heineman, I know you know this at least as well as I do, what an engaging guy he is. And you know, he spent more time in the minors than in the majors in his career. He's bounced around, but he's kind of that classic veteran catcher that teams love having as, say, the third guy, right? If anything happens to one of the two, you call him up. You know you're going to get a great day's work behind the plate, putting everything he can into the starting pitcher that night. As we talked about last year, when he started the year with the Blue Jays, he's also an extraordinary magician and does unbelievable card tricks for the guys if they ask. But there's more to him than that. They really enjoy having him around. And again, with Danny Jansen getting very close, time here may be limited for Heineman right now. But he's done well in the games in which he's been in there.
Yeah, he sure has. And, you know, he's one of those guys. He's a switch hitter, so that adds value to his presence. And you can have him back up. And, you know, one thing about a backup catcher, you don't want them to lose a game. They might not win many, but they're not going to lose many games. And they're hard to find. Those reliable backup catchers that understand their role. James McCann comes to mind. Austin Romine, another guy that was a great backup catcher. Kyle Higashioka, a terrific guy that can play once a week and come in there and do a good job for you.
1-2 on Bo Bichette. Bichette with a fly ball to center his first time up tonight.
Boy, I had a great chat with Rocco Baldelli before the game, and he was singing the praises of Bo Bichette. He said Bo does things not many guys can do. And Rocco was a terrific young player early in his career.
Down on strikes here, 2 down.
That high fastball, you can hear Sonny Gray grunting as he turned that fastball loose. The second strikeout of the inning, third of the game, as Bo goes after this cutter. This ball is up and just spins out over the plate, and he swings right through. Lost the grip on his bat a little bit. I don't see that very often.
So 2 down, and here's Vladdy, who struck out against Gray in the first. And pulls one to short. Correa recovers and gets him. And the Blue Jays are retired. We are scoreless at the end of 3. TV booths are up at the 400 level. The radio booths down on the 300 level. That is Corey Provis on the right with Hall of Famer Paul Molitor, who is doing a little radio work for the Twins this weekend. Of course, Molitor was a Blue Jay in 93, 94, 95, won World Series MVP in 93. And right beside them, there's our radio friends on the Fan 590. Those are the three Bens from left to right. Well, let's start on the left. That is Wagner doing play-by-play. On the right, that is Nicholson Smith, the analyst. And in the center, that's Schulman. That's my son, who is the in-game host tonight. So the moral of the story is if your first name is Ben, you're pretty much assured of working here. Just send your resume in.
Very cool. Very cool.
Great to see Paul Molitor. You and I got a chance to catch up with him and Dick Bramer, the TV voice of the Twins for the last 40 years. And Molly, as everybody calls him, he admitted to having some pretty good memories, Buck, when he walked back into this city and walked around the city today and walked into the ballpark tonight.
Yeah, obviously great memories of the World Series and quite a career. Came up for the first time in 1978 as a 21-year-old. He went to the University of Minnesota. Played 1 year in the minor leagues with the Brewers in the Midwest League. Hit .347 in that abbreviated first season in pro ball, and then he and I were teammates in spring training in 1978.
Correa grounds out to Espinal, one down. Of course, people here might remember him best for his time in Toronto. It was towards the end of his career, his age 36, 37, and 38 seasons. In 1993, he hit .332, finished second in the batting race to John Olerud. He was the World Series MVP. He had over 200 hits. He was the MVP runner-up during the regular season. He was extraordinary. He really was.
Terrific player for a long time. He came up and played shortstop in 1978 because Robin Yount had decided he was going to retire from baseball and take up a golf career. So the day after the Brewers had sent him down in spring training, they called him back up and said, "We want you to come back for a day." And come to find out, Robin stayed away. Paul started the season at shortstop, and when Robin came back with the Brewers, he slid over to second base. Lenny Sakata was the second baseman, and he was off to a poor start, so Paul took over at second.
3,319 career hits for Paul Molitor. That is 11th on the all-time list. Over 600 doubles. He could run. Two-hopper down to Matt Chapman. Kyle Farmer retired. The other thing I remember, and this is, 30 years ago, it's a shame TV couldn't do then what it does now with, super slow-mo cameras and that sort of thing. But, Buck, it looked like Molitor could watch the ball, and it's not, but it looked like he could wait and wait and wait longer than any other hitter because he was so quick. His swing was so short and so quick, he could get to just about any pitch.
He's very similar to what Bo Bichette does with two strikes, because Paul never took a stride. He just pushed back on that front foot and kind of turned his toe a little bit and pushed himself back, and then he was lightning quick with his hands, much like Bo.
Finished up his career with Minnesota. You mentioned he's from St. Paul. He's from one of the Twin Cities, so most of his years with Milwaukee. Came to Toronto late in his career, won a World Series, and then finished up with 3 more years in Minnesota, his hometown team. 0-2 the count on Ryan Jeffers. Woo. Well, the guy in the front row almost had a play there.
Yeah, this one just gets away from Kikuchi, and he airmails it all the way back to the backstop. Look out. Right there. It was right at me. I should have caught it.
2-2. That's a nasty slider right there from Yusei Kikuchi. He strikes out Jeffers for the second time tonight. And the left-hander has now set down 8 Twins in a row.
$162 games matter in an MLB season, but Thursday's Blue Jays victory over the Astros, well, that one really mattered because with that win, the Blue Jays secured the season series with Houston and a potential tiebreaker if the teams finish with identical records at the end of the season. So that could mean the difference between home field advantage in a wild card series. The teams finish tied for that first wild card spot. It could be the difference between playing in the postseason at all if the teams finish tied for third in the wild card race. Houston, by the way, currently a half game up on the Blue Jays for that third and final wild card spot. And remember, the Astros won the opener of that 4-game series. They needed only one more win to secure that tiebreaker themselves, but the Blue Jays won each of the final 3 games, overcoming a deficit in all 3 to take the tiebreaker. And you don't need to tell this club that missed the postseason by only 1 game in 2021 just how important each and every game is.
There's no question about it, Arden. You never know what might make the difference, and certainly beating teams that you may be competing against for a playoff spot is huge, whether that's, could be a Houston or a Texas, or of course could be a Baltimore or a Yankees. And the Blue Jays are heading to Baltimore. They got a 3-game series with the Orioles Tuesday through Thursday of next week. And let's not forget the Orioles were here recently and swept 3 from the Blue Jays.
Yeah, they're for real. They're not going away anytime soon. And the Orioles are legit. They got some good young players, and they got more players coming up.
2-2 on Brandon Belt, who hit a fly ball to deep right his first time up. The Yankees are a game ahead of the Blue Jays. The Orioles are 3 games ahead of the Blue Jays, so it is tight. And yet another 3-2 count on Belt. It seems to happen 2 or 3 times a night.
Yeah, he sees more pitches than anybody on the Blue Jays. He certainly is patient. He's selective. He knows what he wants to hit.
Grounds this one down to first. Solano unassisted.
Step up to the plate and take on any DIY project. At Home Hardware Building Centers, we have everything to build anything. Here's how.
The first night of Pride Weekend here at the Rogers Center. Festivities and a great celebratory atmosphere tonight and again tomorrow. It's a Junior Jays Sunday on Sunday to wrap up this series. Matt Chapman is 0 for 1 tonight. Popped up in foul territory to Solano, the first baseman, his first time up. This one's well hit to the opposite field, and it's off the wall. Chapman makes the turn and is into second with a double.
Well, that's a great sign. Not only the fact he hit a double, but the direction in which he hit it. He hit it the other way, and that's where he swung the bat in April when he was so hot. And this is another one of those cutters, but it doesn't cut. It just kind of spins on the inside of the part of the plate and becomes a mediocre fastball. And Chapman drills it off the top of the fence in right field. His 23rd double of the season, but that's a great sign going the other way.
Just one double shy of the major league lead now behind Freddie Freeman. Whit Merrifield is the batter. Picked up a base hit to center Sonny Gray. Didn't love that call, as you can see. First hit in Merrifield's career against Gray. Now 1 for 15. That raises that average back to an even 300. To left center. But caught on the track by Michael A. Taylor. 2 down.
Boy, he's smooth out there, isn't he? He just really has a beautiful stride and covers a lot of ground. Never panicked, read it really well off the bat. Knew he had a play on it from the moment it was hit. But he's one of those guys that's fun to watch, much like Kevin Kiermaier, who played defense like that. He was really moving over toward the warning track in center field.
And speaking of Kevin Kiermaier, again out of the lineup. Was hit by the pitch right around the left wrist, and he is still feeling it today. Potentially available to pinch run. Little looper back of third is caught by Royce Lewis, and Dalton Varsho and the Blue Jays are retired, leaving the Chapman double aboard. The Blue Jays play every team every year. The Giants are coming here this year, June 27th to 29th. The middle game of that series is also the Gausman replica splitter jersey night. Grab some friends after work. Come on down to the ballpark and see the Blue Jays and the San Francisco Giants. Tickets available at bluejays.com/tickets.
Michael Conforto signed with the Giants as a free agent. A former Dodger, Jock Peterson, is with them, and Michael Yastrzemski, Yaz's grandson.
Boy, Espinal made as good a play as you can make, but Royce Lewis just runs a little bit too well.
Well, he ranged a long way from his position at second base. They play Lewis up the middle to pull. You can see how close he is to second base, but watch where he is when he throws this back over his shoulder. Made a terrific play. Lewis just had too much speed. So he's 2 for 2. Lewis had a little bloop into right field. Now he's got an infield hit.
And the batter is Christian Vasquez. Who hit a fly ball to center, his first at bat tonight.
Vasquez has always been a pretty good guy handling the bat. They can play hit and run, and you would think they might be aggressive given how poorly their offense has been lately. One and one's always a good count to play hit and run. Batter has seen a couple of pitches. The runner at first base has seen a couple of moves from the pitcher.
And the Blue Jays thinking along with you, Buck.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to think that Rocco Baldelli is not going to sit back. They haven't scored many runs, and you get a guy on base to start the inning. You got to be aggressive.
Two and one, another good count to think about it. Only 7 runs in their last 6 games. They are 18th in the majors in runs scored this year. Two and two. Big swing, but it comes up empty. Time back in after Vasquez used his timeout. Lewis the lead. That's one way to get the offense going, is to get that guy going.
Well, it's been a disappointing start to his season for sure. He's 0 for 1 with a walk tonight, hitting just over 200.
And strike 3 called. Kikuchi gets Vasquez.
See, there's the impact of throwing curveballs early in the game, because it's in the hitter's mind for Minnesota, and then he throws this 4-seam fastball, and Vasquez just couldn't pull the trigger. Right at the bottom of the zone. Good finish on that fastball, as Kikuchi picks up his 3rd strikeout.
Now Michael A. Taylor, the number 9 hitter. 73 pitches now for Kikuchi, 45 strikes, 28 balls. He has only walked 1. That was Correa back in the 1st inning, and as you said, that might have kind of been by design. 2 outs, base open, and a guy who had really handled him in his career.
Yeah, at that point, Correa was 9 for 18 against Kikuchi. He had a guy at second base and 2 outs, and I just don't think he wanted anything to do with him, and I agree with that. You walk him, you know where he's at.
Well, a little surprised to see this, given that Kikuchi is having a good night. Nate Pearson is up. You can see he's just soft tossing right now. There's no urgency. So I guess this is just in case Kikuchi gets into some trouble when he starts through the 3rd time through the order. It's interesting because they've got to think about tomorrow as well. Bowden Francis is going to pitch. Whether he starts or comes in as the bulk guy remains to be seen. You know, Pearson can give them multiple innings. Trevor Richards can give them multiple innings. There's Mr. Francis, who's very excited, whatever his role may be, to pitch tomorrow.
Doesn't make any difference as long as you pitch me. I don't care when I pitch or how long I pitch, just pitch me. You know, Yusei has pitched exactly 5 innings in each of his last 3 starts, and he's never pitched more than 6 1/3 this season, so they're never really pushing him too deep.
This one sent to deep left, and it's gone. And that will break the scoreless tie. A 2-run home run by Taylor, and it's 2-0 Twins.
Now, this is the one thing that's been a problem for Yusei all year long, giving up the long ball. That's the 18th home run he's surrendered. That'll tie him with Jordan Lyles of the Royals for the most home runs given up by a pitcher in the American League. And you see it's down and right in the wheelhouse of Michael A. Taylor. We mentioned Taylor had a couple of big home run seasons back with the Nationals, and that's actually his 9th home run of the season. 2 RBIs, and that will give him 21 for the season. It gives Minnesota the lead.
And for a team that's lost 5 in a row and is having all kinds of trouble scoring runs, that is a big home run for Taylor and the Twins. Now 18 home runs allowed, tied for the most in the majors, and just watched Pearson throw a pitch buck out of the bullpen. Pete's back on the phone. Pearson is throwing with a little more intensity right now. Jeff Ware, the bullpen coach, on the other end of that phone call. Solano has doubled and grounded out. Heineman might have bought Kikuchi a strike right there, the way he brought that one down into the zone. Decisions, right? Every single night. You were in that seat, you know it. Ooh. And that time the Blue Jays get a break on a ball that looked outside. Solano strikes out, 2 down.
Yeah, it looked like they might have gotten a call on that pitch as it was a fastball. And boy, it looks like it was off the plate. Actually, it was a changeup that he hasn't thrown many of tonight, but he got a good call there.
So 2 down, and now a swing and a miss by Willie Castro. He was 0 for 2. And another ground ball right at Espinal. And the Twins are retired, but they take the 2-0 lead on the home run by Michael A. Taylor. Let's get an update now with Jamie Campbell. For the Panthers last night, and the Stanley Cup final will continue tomorrow night with Game 4. Vegas now up 2-1. Hockey Central, presented by DraftKings, is up first at 7:30 Eastern, and then it's Game 4 at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on Sportsnet and CBC. Here it's 2-0 Twins going to the bottom of the 5th. Sonny Gray starts Santiago Espinal with a strike.
Well, we mentioned how well the Twins have pitched all year long, and this is a concern. The Blue Jays down 2-0 to Sonny Gray. He has allowed 3 runs or fewer in each of his starts this year. He doesn't give up home runs. He's only surrendered 1 home run, and that's been a big part of the Blue Jays offense lately. So they got some work to do.
He will be a highly coveted free agent at the end of the season. It's in the last year of a 5-year deal that he originally signed with Cincinnati. They traded him to Minnesota prior to last season. Espinal thought about bunting for a base hit.
Yeah, he's kind of in the same realm as Chris Bassitt was last year when the Blue Jays signed Bassitt, given the experience, the age, and his success. He's going to be an interesting and a sought-after free agent.
I don't know if I've ever seen one hit the backstop and then bounce all the way back out to the mound here at the Rogers Center. Either way, 3-1 on Espinal, trying to get something started here. Takes one down the middle, 3-2. Bottom of the order, Espinal, Biggio, and Heineman. Again, Kiermaier out after getting hit by a pitch last night. A scheduled day off for Springer. And Gray awfully frustrated with himself as he walks the leadoff man.
That's what buds do.
Welcome back to the Rogers Center. Friday night series opener between the Blue Jays and Twins. Here also opening up Pride Weekend at the ballpark. Here's Cavan Biggio. Now, do you think that was sincere? Would he have tried to bunt for a base hit, or was he just showing there?
I think he was just showing it. He wanted to get a look at Sonny Gray. Royce Lewis is right on the edge of the turf at third base. He's guarding against a possible bunt, but I don't think Cavan's going to bunt in this situation.
Gray got Biggio with a two-seam fastball that ran right back over the inside corner at the knees. That was back in the third. Now to play left side, and it's 1-2.
Now, you talked about Cavan and how he's improved his swing by flattening his bat path. And another thing I think that's helped him, too, he's a little more aggressive. You know, he was always very, very aware of taking a lot of borderline pitches, and I think the league has really played that card, and now he has to be a little more aggressive because they're going to come after him.
And for guys like Biggio and Espinal, I mean, the good news for the Blue Jays is Merrifield's really playing well. He's getting a lot of playing time, and deservedly so, but that makes the opportunities a little bit less frequent for guys like Espinal and Biggio.
Yeah, and all you can do as a player, obviously you want your teammates to do well, but all you can do as a player in these situations is really give yourself a good opportunity when you practice, because Witt deserves to play every day, whether it's second base or left field.
Well, Biggio's ability to play right field and first base, that's gotten him a few extra starts this season.
Yeah, and you know what? When you have practice, and then I say get the most out of practice, put yourself in game situations on a daily basis when you're not playing, just to remind yourself, hey, when I do get a chance, I want to be ready.
Espinal not going. And a swing and a miss at a slow breaking ball. One down.
Yeah, he struck out Vladdy with a curveball in the first inning, and he gets Cavan throwing that same curveball. You can see how he gets on top of it. It gets the downward spin over the top. A lot of depth on that curveball. Cavan was called out on a two-seam fastball his first time up, and this time he chases that good Sonny Gray curveball.
So here's Tyler Heineman, who had a bunt single his first time up. Pulls this one way foul. It hits a railing in the 500 level and winds up way in the lower deck. We mentioned Danny Jansen is on rehab. He is in Toledo with the Bisons, and about 5 minutes ago Danny Jansen hit a home run for Buffalo. Popped up shallow left, and that's going to fall in. I tell you, we mentioned Tyler Heineman's a magician. How about hitting two balls like he's hit him tonight? He's got a couple of hits. That's a pretty good magic trick.
And it's not a card trick. No, he'll take it, and he just fights this one off and flares it into left field. He had that bunt single back in the third, and this one, he's not sure where it is off the bat, and then he locates it and takes off for first. Kyle Garlick was deep, and it falls in front of him, so the Blue Jays have a couple aboard.
Meanwhile, moments ago in the Blue Jay dugout, John Schneider with a bit of a hug for Yusei Kikuchi, who didn't look happy. He is out of the game, and Kikuchi is not a guy who shows that kind of emotion. And again, his back was to us, so don't want to speculate too much, but it didn't look like Kikuchi was happy being taken out of the game.
Yeah, he tossed something down toward the tunnel. John Snyder's got to make the moves that he feels like will help his team win. And we mentioned Kikuchi. If he's out of the game, it'll be 4 straight starts where he's pitched exactly 5 innings. And Nate Pearson's back up and throwing again with some intensity.
And it would be 3 straight starts of 5 innings, 2 runs for Kikuchi if he is indeed out of the game.
Now, I started to tell you about Baldelli and Bo, what he thinks about Bo. He said, for me, he hits breaking balls better than anybody in the league. He said it looks like he's always looking for breaking balls, and he has a chance to fight off fastballs, and we know he can fight off fastballs.
Bounces one off the glove of Farmer into shallow right. Espinal around to score. Heineman comes to third as Castro fell down out and right, but that didn't change the ultimate outcome. An RBI single for Bichette, and it is 2-1.
Boy, and there's that fastball. He just fights off, and another opposite field hit for Bo Bichette, another RBI. It's a 2-seamer, and he can clear that inside area so well and barrel up the baseball. It goes off the second baseman's glove, and he tipped it a little bit. Heineman goes first to third. Castro falls down in the outfield, but Bo's at first, and now Heineman is at third with 1 out. And here's Vladdy. Blue Jays can get right back in it.
A strikeout and a ground out tonight for Guerrero. Boy, he wants that one back, I would think. I don't know that that's where Sonny Gray wanted to throw that pitch, but he got away with it. Oh, 2 on Guerrero.
Yeah, and Vladdy, he is hit into a lot of double plays, and certainly you don't want to do that now. You want to think about the opposite part of the diamond. Big hole on the right side, ground ball in that direction is going to be difficult to turn to. Anything to the pull side, it'll be pretty much academic. A ground ball on the infield is going to result in a double play.
Way high for ball 1.
Vladdy has grounded into 9 double plays. Ty France of the Mariners leads the league. He's hit into 10 double plays.
Well, he does have a big hole on the right side if he tries to shoot one that way. That's foul up the third baseline.
Early in this ballgame, we talked about Sonny Gray and how many pitches he throws. In effect, he's a little bit like Chris Bassett. You never really know what to expect from Sonny Gray because he mixes his pitches so effectively. And Vladdy has been off stride, off balance throughout this entire at bat.
Just high, the kind of pitch Guerrero's been swinging at lately more than taking, especially deep in the count like this.
Yeah, he'll chase that high pitch, and he laid off that borderline pitch. It was awfully close to being a strike.
So it's 2-2. Got a piece of it to stay alive.
This Correa went over to second base and was kicking at the bag. I don't know if it was sticking up a little bit or something. It was really unusual to pick up on something like that at this point of the ball game.
Down and away 3-2, and now the next decision John Schneider has is, do you start Bo Bichette here? And that's what the Twins are thinking about. Look at Vasquez out from behind the plate. Do they start Bichette?
Well, Vladdy, he strikes out a lot. Sonny Gray has 4 strikeouts so far. And we talk about trying to stand up a double play. That would suggest they will start the runner.
He's going. And it's ball 4, so it's a moot point. Vladdy walks, and the bases are loaded for Brandon Belt. Well, this guy's had an knack for coming up with the big hit lately, hasn't he? He had the RBI single in the 5th inning last night, gave the Blue Jays the 3-2 lead. That was the final score. Had a big home run in the 3-2 win on Wednesday night. Doubled and walked on Tuesday night. Just night after night, he has been doing things to help the Blue Jays win.
Interesting, and we've talked about how many pitches he sees per at bat. He swung the first pitch in his first at bat, but then saw 6 pitches in his second at bat. And he grounded to the first baseman on a curveball back in the 4th in his second plate appearance.
Swing and a miss, tied him up a bit, 1-1.
Yeah, that was the cutter, and he threw it in a good spot. Yeah, he gets that ball on the side and just kind of cuts inside and tied up Brendan.
One and 2 now on Belt. And Rocco Baldelli's got his bullpen going. His lone lefty, Giovanni Moran, is up. Heineman, Bichette, and Guerrero aboard. And he got him. Boy, Gray he located beautifully in that at bat. He did not let Belt get those arms extended at all.
Another great sequence of pitches for Sonny Gray. And this is a 2-seam fastball. We talked about how well he locates this pitch to left-handed batters. It's off the plate inside, and he has enough movement to get the swing and miss.
And you could see where Vasquez was. He couldn't have hit the target better than he did right there. So 2 down and the bases loaded. Here's Matt Chapman, who is 1 for 2, doubled his last time up. Breaking ball down and away, 0-2.
Yeah, the double that Chapman hit back in the 4th, he hit a cutter that Sonny Gray got too much of the plate with, and he hit it off the fence in right field.
One run in, but that's it so far. The Blue Jays had the bases loaded with 1 out before the Belt strikeout, and now Chapman trying to do some damage. Pulls 1 to third, and Lewis will put the tag on Bichette, and that'll end the inning. The Blue Jays do get the 1 run on the RBI single by Bo Bichette, cashing in Santiago Espinal, and at the end of 5, it's now the Twins 2 and the Blue Jays 1. Program returns this Sunday. Inflatables, artists, performances, and more. Don't miss it. Activities start at 10:30 in the morning and run until first pitch. Visit BlueJays.com/tickets. Well, Yusei Kikuchi is now officially out of the game after his third consecutive start of exactly 5 innings and exactly 2 runs allowed.
Yeah, man, the home run came back to bite him once again. The 18th home run he's given up this season. A 2-run shot by Michael A. Taylor. In the top of the 5th, the Blue Jays got to run back in the bottom of the 5th, and now they'll go to the bullpen. And first up is Nate Pearson, who hasn't pitched since Sunday. He threw 15 pitches in the game on Sunday at New York, and they're going to counteract the move with a pinch hitter.
Trevor Larnach will hit for Kyle Garlick. We mentioned Rocco Baldelli had 3 left-handed bats on the bench. Here comes one of them, former first-round pick back in 2018. Larnach hitting just 203 this year in 138 at bats. So he is now in the 3 spot in the order. That means Carlos Correa is on deck. Well, perhaps one of the reasons why Jimmy Garcia pitched in the 7th inning last night in a leverage situation, and he hadn't been, was they knew they might want Nate Pearson for multiple innings, either tonight with Kikuchi pitching or tomorrow with Bowden Francis having some kind of a role. So as John Schneider said, Pearson's usage will be situational. Obviously it depends on how he's doing, but one night it might be, you know, the 7th inning in a 1-run game, and one night it might be 2 innings in the middle of a game because they know he can give them that.
Yeah, and he comes in now to the 3rd spot in the batting order, and they send a pinch hitter up there, but Carlos Correa is next, then Kyle Farmer.
Now this is a big league pop-up. Everybody wants a piece of it. Shortstop makes the play.
Love of the game is love of the game. TD is the proud sponsor of Pride Weekend.
Pearson gets the first batter he faces. Those 4 infielders, Buck, were coming in unison, all converging on the ball at the same time. It was up there a while.
Yeah, they had a lot of time to get underneath it, and Bo made the catch, and it was a big first out of the inning.
100, but up and in. Ball 1 to Carlos Correa.
Nate's always talking to himself, just giving himself reminders of how to execute the upcoming pitch. Slider missed down and away. Twins haven't seen a lot of Nate Pearson. His fastball is his best pitch. As Dan mentioned, he's already thrown one at 100.
That's the curveball down at 79 that he drops in for a strike. Fastball grounded into center field, a base hit for Correa.
Four-seamer out over the plate, and Correa hits it off the end of the bat. He was out in front of it a little bit, but guides it right up the middle through the infield into center.
So runner at first, 1 out for Kyle Farmer, who's 0 for 2 on a couple of groundouts. What a catch by Chapman. That ball was absolutely smoked by Farmer, and somehow Chapman made the play.
It looked as though the ball was already past him, but he stayed with it, and then not only did he catch it, but he turns and fires quickly. Look at this play. I mean, that's as good as it gets, and he quickly throws it back to first, thinking of a double play. What an effort. Wow. Great extension by Matt Chapman, and then quickly fires to first. Can't make a better play on a liner like that.
2 down for Ryan Jeffers, who takes a little bit low, ball 1. Just for a fleeting moment, you saw a little bit of a smile from Chapman after that play, and somebody might have said something to make him giggle a little bit. He does not smile on the field very often. In the air to left center, lots of room for Varsho. And it's a good inning for Nate Pearson. Of course, he's got to give a little bit of an assist to the 3-time Gold Glover down at third. As good a play as Chapman has made, and that's saying something, isn't it?
It's hot. You drive us wild, we'll drive.
Dan told you that Danny Jansen went deep for the Buffalo Bisons tonight on a rehab assignment. We gotta show you this thing because Danny absolutely parks this homer. 405 feet to left center, 105 off the bat for Jansen. A very good sign. He also caught 5 innings in this game. He's since been lifted for Rob Brantley. Now Jansen has been on the injured list since May 25th with that left groin strain. He's still working his way back. You can expect him to be with the Buffalo Bisons throughout the weekend, but assuming all goes well, don't think it would be a surprise to see Jansen meet up with the Blue Jays when they go to Baltimore next week.
Which would obviously be good news to have both of their catchers healthy. Kirk has started to swing the bat better to get Jansen back. Hopefully Kevin Kiermaier is back sooner rather than later. Hopefully just a couple of days after that wrist injury. 2-1 Twins go to the bottom of the 6th, and here's left-hander Giovanni Moran.
The only lefty they have in their bullpen, and they have gone to their bullpen here. Sonny Gray, another good outing. 5 innings. He allows 1 run on 5 hits. Each team with just 5 hits in the ball game, and it's a 2-1 game with Minnesota on top.
This is interesting to me. I mean, Gray had only thrown 76 pitches.
Yeah.
And I get that 2 of the next 4 hitters are lefties in Varsho and Biggio, and so maybe this is kind of the spot for Moran. But kind of surprised Gray's out of the game already.
Yeah, when you look at his line, just 76 pitches, as you mentioned, Dan. 5 innings, 5 hits. Just the 1 earned run, and Bo Bichette base hit through the right side of the infield. There's that changeup, and Moran will throw a lot of changeups to the right-handed hitters. He'll throw changeups almost exclusively to the right-handers. It's a circle changeup, and he has a great changeup. Throw it any time. You can see how far out in front Merrifield was.
Scott Carson pointing out that Gray threw 31 pitches in the 5th inning, so he had to work very hard. That last inning does not come back out for the 6th. And a changeup again to get Merrifield swinging. We get a little baffled by that changeup and that at bat.
Well, the changeup is such a great pitch. Obviously, Trevor Richards lives and dies with his changeup, and it's one of the best ones in the league, and this one is outstanding. You know you got a good changeup when you can throw a changeup after a changeup and still get the hitter to swing out in front.
In on the hands of Varsho, and it's popped up for Solano, and quickly 2 down. Here's Espinal now. Santiago has grounded out and walked and scored the only Blue Jay run of the night. .95 at the knees, 0-1. Well, it's maybe a night that might see George Springer get in there. He didn't start. It was called a scheduled night off, but that may just mean in terms of being a starter, Springer may get in there at some point tonight. Espinal drops one into right, a base hit. Castro was thinking about it, but played it on a bounce.
Well, he did a good job because once he got close enough, recognized he wasn't going to catch it, he was able to smother it and keep it from going past him. And here comes George Springer.
So there's the counter move from John Schneider with the lefty Moran in the game.
Moran, this is his 2nd appearance of the season against the Blue Jays. He had an inning and a 3rd of hitless relief in Minneapolis, and now the Espinal base hit sets this table for Springer to come up.
Meanwhile, Rocco Baldelli's got a right-hander up in Brock Stewart. And Moran has faced 3 batters, so they could go to him.
And it looks like that's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
So Moran faced the minimum, and Baldelli checking to make sure that Stewart is ready. And now he's going to make the change.
And there's the call. So it's official now. Moran out, Stewart in to face Springer here in the bottom of the 6th. Baseball coming your way. It'll be the Red Sox and the Yankees starting at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. You can see that game on Sportsnet 1 and Sportsnet Now. They are playing tonight as well, of course. And right now, the Red Sox lead the Yankees 3-1. in the 7th inning in the Bronx. The Yankees at the moment are a game ahead of the Blue Jays. So if the Yankees go on to lose and the Blue Jays could find a way to win, they'd be all knotted up. Here's Brock Stewart, who made 10 appearances as a Blue Jay in 2019. He was selected off waivers by the Blue Jays from the Dodgers July 31st, and then that winter the Cubs took him from the Blue Jays in the Rule 5 draft.
He's got a big arm. That fastball has touched 98 Springer.
Wow, look at this. First pitch swinging. And Springer sends one to the wall. Espinal is getting the wave. And will score. Springer into third, and this game is tied.
When you got a big gun on your bench, you pick your spots wisely. And John Snyder said, you know what? I got Springer here. I'm going to send him up. First pitch swinging, hits the breaking ball and hits it in the gap in left center. Espinal running with 2 outs, going to come around to score. The relay goes to the middle of the diamond. Espy scores, and Springer advances all the way to third. George watches the ball, and watch how he runs around the base. Then he's going to watch the 2 infielders, and they both vacate second base. So he said, there's nobody to make a play behind me, and he takes the extra 90 feet.
And he is some kind of fired up, and so is the crowd. And here's another pinch hitter in Alejandro Kirk, batting for Tyler Heineman. That's a double and an RBI for Springer. He takes third on the throw. And 2-0 on Kirk. Swing and a miss. Pretty good rip at a 97-mile-an-hour fastball, but it's 2-1. As you can see, more productive the last few weeks. Has had some big hits here on this homestand already. Late on that one, 2-2. You said he had a big arm.
Yeah, and that's I'm a little surprised he threw a first pitch slider to George Springer, but Springer wasn't fooled one bit. It was in the middle of the plate, and he hammered it. You know, pitchers are funny that way. They don't want to give up contact on fastballs, or it's an ego thing. Like, I could throw 100, but I don't want to give up a hit on 100.
It's like it bruises their ego a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Kirk checked it, and it's a full count.
Yeah, they don't have a problem if they throw a breaking ball, a guy hits a breaking ball. Well, yeah, you hit a good pitch. But, boy, you give up a hit on your fastball, and it'll rattle a pitcher.
Let's go back to the Springer hit as Espinal is thinking about heading home, and here comes the other third base coach, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., giving Espinal a little bit of help. And Kirk strikes out. Stewart gets him to end the inning. But George Springer comes off the bench and lines one to deep left center. He's fired up. This game is tied. Day at the Park comes to Rogers Center on Saturday, June 24th at 4:07 p.m. The first 15,000 fans will receive a Blue Jays replica cricket jersey. Don't miss out on this unique item. Visit bluejays.com/tickets.
Dan, if you ever wonder whether or not people listen to us, today I'm at Lawrence Market and a guy comes up and says, "How come you know so much about cricket?"
That's funny.
He said, "I lived in London for 25 years and I was a big cricket fan when I was over there, but yeah, to hear you guys talk about cricket, I was impressed."
Well done by you. Defensive changes, of course, as Alejandro Kirk stays in the game to catch after pinch hitting for Tyler Heineman, and George Springer stays in the game in right after pinch hitting for Cavan Biggio. Nate Pearson back out for a second inning of work. The Blue Jays now have a few guys on the roster who can give them more than an inning. Nate Pearson has proven he can do that. Trevor Richards has proven he can do that. And as of today, Mitch White is back on the roster for the Blue Jays. There's White, who is back off his rehab assignment at AAA. This one is lined into right, a base hit for Lewis. And he is taking the spot of Anthony Bass, who was DFA'd today by the Blue Jays. And Ross Atkins, who met with the media yesterday, met with them again today. This has obviously been a contentious topic around these parts recently, and only heightened by the fact that this is Pride weekend. Yesterday, Ross Atkins talked about, feeling the apology was authentic and a second opportunity and that sort of thing. And then Anthony Bass came out after Atkins yesterday, and I don't think it's a giant leap of faith to think that some of the things that Bass said yesterday may have changed the way the Blue Jays were looking at the situation. And Ross Atkins, the GM of the team, talked today again and said it was mostly performance related, but yes, admitted the distraction, which is the word he used a number of times, was part of this. So Anthony Bass DFA'd. He is off the 40-man roster. They have 7 days to either trade him, release him, or put him on waivers. And Mitch White has taken his spot on the roster.
Yeah, and obviously Mitch White, he hadn't performed really well down in the minors. His ERA is around 10 in his rehab assignment, but they felt like the distraction was something that was going to be a concern, and they made a decision to designate Anthony Bass for assignment.
The 1-2 to Vasquez is bounced to the right side. Espinal feeds Bichette, and he'll unload in time to turn the double play.
Well, Espinal is a good player. He understands who the batter was. He knows he's got time. He has to go far to his left. Watch how far it goes to his left, and then turns and fires to Bo. And Bo comes across the bag with a lot of momentum and fires a seed to first base. Vasquez, the catcher, they knew they had a shot to double him up, and they double him up by a wide margin.
And fired up Nate Pearson on the mound. And is there some sort of a challenge coming here? I was wondering if maybe Bo had come across second base already.
Minnesota is challenging the out call at second base.
Yeah, I was wondering if maybe Bichette had already kind of slid his foot over the bag by the time he took the throw. These happen so quickly to the naked eye. We'll have to get another look, but obviously the Twins saw enough to warrant a challenge.
Yeah, watch how far Bo is there, and he could be off the bag. He swiped the base with his right foot. But did he have contact when he caught the throw from Espinal? Right there. That doesn't tell us anything, that angle. But he had a lot of momentum going. He came from a long way away from second, and he was running full speed when he got close to the bag. And Rocco Baldelli and the Twins felt like it was worthy of a challenge. Here's the catch. His foot is, boy, that is really close.
Looks like we might have a resolution forthcoming here momentarily.
After review, the call on the field stands. The runner is out. Minnesota will lose their challenge.
That's about as close as they come, and it stays in the Blue Jays' favor.
Yeah, boy, that was close. And Blue Jays, and obviously it stands, which means there wasn't enough evidence to overturn the call, but it was really close at second. And the Blue Jays will take, and the Twins lose their challenge.
So 2 down for Michael A. Taylor. Nate Pearson just threw on 101.6 miles an hour.
That rounds out to 102.
Big Nate is bringing it tonight.
Yes, he is. And you know what? Let it eat, Big Nate. Let it eat. Michael A. Taylor hit the home run off Kikuchi in the 5th on a slider down. He's a low ball hitter, and Nate's got the pitch to challenge him upstairs.
Slider in at the top of the zone, 1-2. Well done, Nate Pearson. Elevates at 101 and strikes out Michael A. Taylor. 2 scoreless innings for Pearson tonight. Time to vote. It's time to move the needle. The All-Star ballot is now open. Vote for your Blue Jays to play in the 2023 All-Star Game. From now until June the 22nd, you can vote up to 5 times per day. Visit BlueJays.com/vote to cast your ballot now. And the guy in the batter's box at the moment, no doubt, is going to get a lot of votes this year. Bichette 1 for 3 tonight, had an RBI single back in the 5th. It's his 43rd RBI on the season. He's the team leader in home runs with 14. Griffin Jack's up in the Twins pen. Brock Stewart back on the mound for the Twins, at the moment at least.
It's interesting. We mentioned that Rocco Baldelli believes Bo is a elite breaking ball hitter, and they've stayed firm with fastballs throughout this game, and they've tried to force him to hit that fastball.
Elevates a fastball to get him.
Jose Cuervo Tradicional. Made with 100% agave for over 250 years.
Well, speaking of elevated fastballs, that pitch that Nate Pearson threw to Michael A. Taylor at 101.6 miles an hour, if I'm seeing what I think I'm seeing, StatCast says that's the second hardest pitch Nate Pearson has ever thrown in the big leagues.
Yeah. And you know what? He's got the big arm, and he's really mastered the ability to elevate the fastball, and then he drops in a slider and a curveball from time to time. That's what the Blue Jays thought they had in Nate Pearson, and it's finally coming to the surface.
Maybe not in the original intended role. Obviously, he was a starting pitcher coming up through the minors, but he looks like he has, come to terms with being in the bullpen. He gets an adrenaline rush out of it, and he can obviously be a very important part of this team when he is at his best. Guerrero hits a bouncer to third. Lewis, a high throw, and Vladdy is safe.
I tell you what, Vladdy hasn't been swinging the bat all that well lately, and it's easy to just say, oh, there's another ground ball to third. But he comes out of the box and hustles. Watch right here. He turns and recognizes it's going to be a bang-bang play, a high throw, and he gets across the bag before the first baseman can come down. Good job by Vladdy, and he is able to reach base with the high throw in the air by the third baseman.
So the go-ahead run is aboard at first with one out in the bottom of the seventh for Brandon Belt, who is 0 for 3. Vladdy is running, and they step off and they get him. Stewart wasn't paying attention to him, and he decided to take off, but somebody obviously hollered, and Stewart stepped off in time.
Yeah, and the infielders will see the break, and Correa probably hollered from shortstop, step off, and then Stewart made a good throw to second. So Vladdy just moved, and Stewart patiently stepped off the rubber and throws to Correa to tag out Guerrero. Upset.
Yeah, beating himself up a little bit in the dugout.
Yeah.
And a high strike, 1-1.
Look at Correa at second, and Hunter Wendelstedt, the umpire, is right there keeping an eye on him. And remember, he has to stay on the shortstop side of second. And Wendelstedt has said, hey, man, you're really close. He goes, yeah, I know, but I'm still within the boundaries of the new rules. And you got to have your 2 feet on the dirt. And that conversation is ongoing right now. He said, don't back up too far, Carlos.
Draw an imaginary lane right over the bag, the width of the bag out to center field. Correa's got to be to the left of that. And as Buck mentioned, he can't be on the outfield grass either. He's got to be on the dirt. So he's pushing the limits both ways right now, but he's not doing anything wrong. They continue to talk about it.
Yeah, Wendelstedt's obviously in a conversation with the shortstop, saying, now you're making it tough on me.
John Schneider going down to the other end of the dugout talking to Vladdy about that caught stealing.
Well, and two, and it just shows you Vladdy wants to win, and sometimes, his desire to win will force him into bad judgments and different things. But we praised him when he hustled out of the box, and then he just guessed wrong and gets thrown out at second.
And that is strike 3. Belt didn't like it, but it looked like it caught the bottom of the zone. We are through 7 here at the Rogers Center, tied at 2. Let's get a Blue Jays Central update with Jamie, Joe, and Madison. Pride jerseys, the giveaway here tonight at the ballpark, and coming up on June the 28th, another giveaway. The first 15,000 fans will receive a Kevin Gausman replica splitter jersey, half blue, half white. Visit BlueJays.com/tickets to come see the Blue Jays take on the Giants. How about those two professionals sitting right there, Kevin Gausman and Chris Bassitt?
Boy, they're grown-ups at the top of the rotation, and that's exactly what you want. Some solid guys that are going to give you innings time and time again. Now the Blue Jays are looking for a good inning from Jimmy Garcia. Pitched in last night's game through a total of 15 pitches, gave up a couple of hits, but no runs and had a strikeout. What a job by Nate Pearson.
2 scoreless innings for Pearson. Here is Alex Kirilloff, who comes off the Twins bench to pinch hit for Donovan Solano. Lays off that one. Kirilloff hitting .307 in 88 at bats. And Kevin Kiermaier may be in play for something or other. Again, he's still sore, that left wrist. But unless he's just a little bit hyper right now.
No, he's in play. Yeah, he's got his glove. He's in play. He's getting his legs loose. And if the situation presents himself, he's going to come into this game.
Maybe defensively, maybe pinch running, either way.
And even if he has to take it at bat, he can bunt. He doesn't have to swing. There's other ways to get around it. You and I both talked to him today before the game, and he said, yeah, I'm pretty sore. Yeah, it's pretty stiff, but has nothing to do with his legs or his glove. Yeah, he's in play. You can tell by his attitude on the bench.
We'll count on Kirilloff. Willie Castro next, and then Trevor Larnach behind him. Did he go? He did. Ryan Walsh down at third, rings up Kirilloff.
A good hard breaking ball, and Garcia got it down and in. Kirilloff was halfway up the first base line thinking it was ball, and that barrel went across the plate, and he is called for the swing. It will be a strikeout for Garcia.
Now Castro 0 for 3. How about the Rays, by the way? They win again. They're starting a big series with Texas this weekend. The Rangers a very good team. Isaac Paredes hit 2 homers, drove in 6. Tyler Glasnow 6 innings, 1 run, 1 hit. And Tampa Bay beats Texas 8-3.
They just don't lose.
Never. They are 47-19. They have won 7 in a row.
And you know what's interesting about that? Wander Franco and Randy Arozarena combined to go 0 for 5. But Paredes picked up the slack, as you mentioned.
The Orioles are leading the Royals 3-2, top of the 8th at Camden Yards. And the Red Sox leading the Yankees 3-2, bottom of the 8th in the Bronx. Got him. Swinging a foul tip, a change up there to get Castro 2 down.
Jimmy Garcia, a couple of strikeouts, and there's that circle change grip. He gets good movement on it as Castro strikes out. Boy, 2 up, 2 down here in the 8th. We mentioned Garcia pitched in the game last night, and he's pitched a lot lately and not had a whole lot of consistent results, but he's got his game plan working tonight.
And the ball's really moving. All of his pitches are really moving so far tonight. And that one moves as well, right out of the strike zone. 3-0. Rather not deal with that guy this inning. He went around, says home plate umpire Ryan Blakeney. It's 3-2. Down the left field line, Merrifield tracking it and has it. Jimmy Garcia gets the Twins in order. Bottom of the 8th, Matt Chapman is going to lead it off. He's got a double in this game. He's made a fantastic defensive play as well. The Blue Jays looking to break the tie.
No, I can't let go.
Great afternoon, a chance to check out the Mariners and the Angels. 4 o'clock Eastern time. You can see it on Sportsnet 1 and Sportsnet Now. Terrific young talented pitcher for the Mariners, Bryce Miller, is scheduled to make the start against the Angels that day. Blue Jays have the annual trip out to Seattle just after the All-Star break, right? Just after the All-Star break. Seattle and then the Dodgers.
Right.
That's a week.
It is a week. 2 great ballparks. Seattle, of course, going to host the All-Star game on the 11th of July, and the Blue Jays will be out there just after that. This is the 4th pitcher for Minnesota, Griffin Jax, into the ball game to start things here in the 8th.
Alex Kirilloff remains in the game at first base after pinch hitting for Donovan Solano. This game is a lot like the last couple of games against the Astros. The visiting team took a 2-0 lead. The Blue Jays came back to tie it, and in the last 2 won it by a score of 3-2. See if they got some similar magic working here tonight.
Well, we talked about our open. We talked about the pitching and how consistent the Blue Jays pitching has been, both the starters and the bullpen. And since May 26th, the Blue Jays have allowed 2 runs or less in 9 games, and they've gone 9-0 in each of those games. And here they are again, 2 runs. Jimmy Garcia was very good. Nate Pearson outstanding.
That's outside. The Blue Jays have 15 come-from-behind wins this year, including those 2 we talked about the last 2 days against Houston. Chapman hooks it to left center field, and a diving grab made by Larnach.
Yeah, Matt Chapman's had a couple of good at-bats. He had the double earlier in the game to right field. Then he smokes this ball. Looks like he's got a chance for another double. But Larnach comes over and makes a nice diving catch. And then he kind of cradles the baseball up against his body. Make sure that ball doesn't pop out of his glove.
So 1 down, bottom 8. And here's Whit Merrifield. Eric Swanson is now up in the Blue Jays bullpen.
He's pitched a lot lately. He threw 15 pitches last night, 15 on Tuesday, and 8 on Sunday. He's worked a lot. But I like that. You know what? Pitching coach Pete Walker always checks in with his relievers each day. They come out early before batting practice. They all play catch. They have their catch partners, and they'll give Pete the reaction. Okay, I'm good to go today. I feel good. I'm not sore. I got plenty left. Whatever you need, I got you. That's great.
It's kind of a group decision. The pitcher gets to give his opinion, but they track the number of pitches they throw, not only in the game, but warm-up pitches, getting up in the bullpen. So a few different entities are involved in determining whether or not a pitcher is available. Ooh. Ooh. Merrifield thought it was ball 4.
This is the sweeper, and Merrifield might have been right.
And in the air to right center, it will be the right fielder, Castro, to make the catch. 2 down. We're back with you tomorrow afternoon. Blue Jays Central gets it started at 2:30 Eastern. First pitch at 3:07. And we don't know who will be throwing it yet. It could be Bowden Francis. It could be an opener, say a guy like Trevor Richards. The middle game of the 3-game series between the Twins and the Jays. That guy, that's Bowden Francis, for those who don't know, and he will be extensively involved in the game, but we don't know exactly in what role just yet. Richards has had a really good year, all kinds of different roles, multiple innings, and if he's not needed tonight, he'll be in play tomorrow. Varsho with a fly ball to center. Easy play for Taylor. And it remains 2-2 now through 8. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Great crowd here on Pride Weekend, the Friday night of Pride Weekend here at the ballpark. And another good ball game. It is 2-2 going to the 9th inning between the Twins and the Blue Jays. And a guy Buck was talking about, he has been working a lot and he has been pitching very well. Eric Swanson is into the game.
This is the 6th appearance Swanson has made in June. And we're in the 9th of June. He's worked a lot, but boy, has he been good. 1 hit in 5 1/3. He has not walked a batter, and he struck out 5 in those previous outings.
Carlos Correa, the first batter he will face. 2 runs, 6 hits, and an error for Minnesota. 2-7-0 for the Blue Jays. Correa late on that 93-mile-an-hour fastball. 1-2.
Swanson will throw that fastball upstairs, and he's got a very good split, and he'll throw occasional slider to the right-handed hitters.
Splitter there, and it's lifted in the air to right. Springer is there for the first out. And now a pinch hitter, the third and final left-handed bat that Rocco Baldelli had on his bench tonight. Max Kepler is coming up to bat for Kyle Farmer. Kepler struggling. Spent some time in the IL with a hamstring injury, hitting just 189. Boy, he had that 1 year. It's 2019 as I look back at his numbers. 36 home runs. An 855 OPS. It looked like, Buck, he might be on the verge of stardom, and he kind of crested there, and it's been going down the last few years.
Yeah, and right now he's really struggling. 4 for his last 33, all singles. He has 10 strikeouts in those 33 at bats with just 1 walk. A lot of swing and a miss lately.
Splitter in the dirt, 2-2. Up and away, a full count. Yohan Duran. Arguably, maybe not even arguably, the hardest thrower in baseball this year. He got him. Look at the movement on that pitch. 2 down.
Kepler, he didn't even hesitate. He turned and walked away as the umpire was finishing up strike 3. But this ball dives back over the inside corner, and that splitter has been very, very effective for Erik Swanson. 2 up, 2 down here in the 9th.
And the batter, Ryan Jeffers. Back to Duran for a moment. He has thrown 8 of the 9 hardest pitches, fastest pitches thrown in baseball this year, peaking at 104.6 last week against Cleveland.
He has got a terrific arm. He throws fastball, slider, and his split. He's got all 3 quality pitches. You don't want to give the Twins the lead late in the game. It'll be tough to score on Duran.
Just off the corner. Up and in, 2-2. Strong inning for Erik Swanson. 3 up, 3 down with a couple of strikeouts. Well, 1 run's going to win it. Remember, Springer and Kirk are now in the lineup at the bottom of the order. Here comes Yohan Duran. Jays Care 50-50 jackpot ends in just 2 days. The winner of the last jackpot was a first-time buyer. You never know. All it might take is one ticket. Go to BlueJays.com/5050 from anywhere in Ontario. Well, this is interesting. Again, this is the hardest thrower in the major leagues, Jhoan Duran. He has hit 104 on a number of occasions this year. He comes in a tie game at the bottom of the ninth to face Espinal, Springer, and Kirk.
Yeah, and he too will throw a splitter with that. He's got a big fastball. His average fastball is 101.9. That's his average fastball. He'll throw a curveball, he'll throw a splitter.
A couple of defensive changes. Willie Castro has now come into the infield, moving from right field to second, and that's so Max Kepler can go out in right after he pinch hit for Farmer. Well, if you know a guy throws 103, 104, what are you telling yourself as you walk to the plate?
Get ready. Get ready.
All right, it's as simple as that.
It's coming.
We won't overcomplicate it here tonight. Espinal first.
See, I told you, you gotta get ready.
He was pretty ready.
Yeah. He's a little bit late, but he was ready.
Oh, and 2.
.65, 230. That's what you call a presence on the mound.
The curveball is high 80s. And then, you know, it's been called a splitter. It's been called a changeup. You call it a splitter. It's been called all kinds of things. Some of them call it a splinker. It's like a splitter with sinker movement. That's the curveball.
A splinker?
A splinker. That is not a StatCast term.
Okay, it's a splinker.
You can Google that and not a lot comes up. But changeup, splitter, splinker. Whoa. Did it hit him? It sure looked like it did. Fortunately, it was the curveball. And fortunately, Espinal appears to be okay.
It did hit him. There's the curveball grip, and it gets away from him, and you can see he backs up, and it hits him on inside of his right arm. And it looked like it got a lot of meat, so hopefully he's going to be okay. And he's on to first base. Again, a pitcher throws 105, and he hits a guy in a tie game with his 4th pitch.
Go figure.
I don't get it.
Here's George Springer. Came off the bench, delivered a clutch pinch hit RBI double back in the 6th inning to tie it. That's the splitter changeup splinker right there.
I want to know what this sounds like on PitchCom.
Yeah. Because some people say it's kind of a combination of a splitter and a sinker because of the grip and the movement. It's nasty, whatever it is. That's it again, but Springer takes it 1-1.
Yeah, it's so hard. It does sink and probably doesn't spin an awful lot, but boy, whatever it is, it's nasty. There's the grip. You can see it. And the ball just takes off.
Espinal the lead. And the 1-1 to Springer. Right field. This ball's pretty well hit. It's going to be off the base of the wall. Espinal will be held. Springer into second with a double.
Well, I tell you what, Andre Taylor is a terrific fielder. He got that ball back in quickly. And with nobody out, Louis Revere did a heck of a job of stopping the runner. Your first instinct was he can score on this. He can score on this, but watch how Taylor plays it. He plays it off the wall, unloads in a hurry, gets it back to Correa, who's got a terrific arm, and Espinal is stopped at third. He knows he's got a chance to score right here, and he looks at Louis Rivera, and he gets the stop sign. Stay right there. Nobody out. We don't want you thrown out at the plate. Correa's got a very strong arm, and they weren't going to take a chance with nobody out.
What a night for Springer, and he didn't even start the game. And boy, you gotta like the way this one is shaping up. Kirk's a guy who can make some contact. Bichette's on deck. Obviously, the Twins will bring the infield in. The outfielders have come in a bit. In the dirt for ball one.
When you're facing a guy that throws hard like this in a situation like this with the running one at third, you just really got to focus on getting the ball up. Anything up and out over the plate and drive it to right center. You don't even have to pull it. Just hit it to the outfield.
Knocked down out at second. What a play. A game-saving play potentially made by Willie Castro.
Unbelievable. He starts in right field because Kepler pinch hit. Castro comes in to play second and just saved the game. This looks like it's going through for sure. He looks at the runner at third, knows he's got time, and throws Kirk out. What a play.
And now with the Bichette coming up, again a meeting on the mound.
We've talked about this throughout Bo's 4 plate appearances. They have thrown him a lot of velocity tonight. They have really thrown him a lot of velocity. Rocco Baldelli made a point of saying Bo Bichette's one of the best breaking ball hitters in baseball. So I would be very surprised if he doesn't get a steady diet of that big-time fastball.
And Bo's kind of always thinking opposite field against a guy who throws this hard even more so. And as you said, you don't have to pull it to win it. You just have to get it to the outfield.
Well,
really.
And two, the hardest ball to hit the opposite field is the ball that's down and away. Bo can handle anything on the inside part of the plate and hit it to the opposite field.
Espinal at third, Springer at second, one down. Down and in, ball one. Field line foul, a ball and a strike.
102. But we have seen that swing as a preview to a base hit.
And boy, if you're the first baseman and the second baseman again, you've got to be alert, just like Castro was on the last play. Because if it's coming, it's likely coming your way. Foul again, 1-2. It started with Espinal being hit by a pitch. Springer doubled to right center. Kirk a sharp ground ball and a really good play at second by Castro. And now Bichette trying to win it. And he got him to swing at a curveball in the dirt, 2 down.
He fouled off a couple of tough fastballs, and then Moran did throw him a curveball. And now Vladdy will have a chance to win it.
0 for 3 with a walk tonight. And they're going to walk him. They're going to put Guerrero on and pitch to Bell.
Not really a surprise with the base open.
Out of play, 0-1. Guerrero's telling Espinal, get a bigger lead over there. Yelling at him from across the diamond.
Well, Belt has had his challenges catching up to velocity. But he has been a big clutch hitter, especially over the last 6 weeks.
They'd be doing him a favor if they throw him a curveball, don't you?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Fastball 1-2. Because there's velocity and then there's velocity, and that's what Duran has. Upstairs, Espinal getting a lot friskier at third base now, kind of bluffing down the line, and maybe Vladdy was yelling at him, see if you can make him balk, distract him a little bit. And he's doing it again. Well, he threw him a curveball, but he missed with it, and it's 3-2. Boy, oh boy.
Yeah. You just got to believe he's going to get a heater now.
Has to, right? Has to throw him a fastball now. This is a guy with a very good eye, Brandon Belt. And the pitch.
That was pretty interesting. That pitch clock got down to 2 seconds.
Boy, whatever he wanted, he shook his catcher off twice to get there. And lined to second, but caught by Castro. And the Blue Jays can't win it here in the bottom of the ninth. Extra innings on the way. But it can also be a little bit stressful, and let's give you a shot of a young fan in the bottom of the ninth. Just can barely watch. I can hardly stand to look. Please, would you win it, Blue Jays, please? But Yohan Duran, after hitting a batter and giving up a double, I mean, there was some hard contact too that, fortunately, from a Twins perspective, found gloves. The Blue Jays second and third, nobody out, Buck couldn't win it, and now extra innings.
Yeah, and how about Willie Castro making a terrific play on Kirk and then catching the line drive off the bat of Brandon Belt. And now we're going to extra innings, and Adam Cimber will come out of the bullpen. Pearson, Garcia, Swanson, and now Cimber, and they have all pitched well.
So one thing maybe worth saying right now is we haven't seen Jordan Romano yet, and Romano has pitched each of the last 2 days. Didn't throw a lot of pitches, but obviously enough that at least for now he is not being considered here in this one. Ryan Jeffers is the runner at second as Cimber starts Royce Lewis with a strike.
Brandon Belt, he did a heck of a job of catching up to that fastball, but unfortunately went right to the second baseman. How about Royce Lewis quietly with a 3-for-3 game? He's got half the Twins hits.
Yeah. Reaches for it, swinging bunt up the third baseline. Nothing Chapman can do other than try to get Jeffers as he's going by him, but that'll work out well for the Twins, and it's first and third, nobody out.
Yeah, a swinging bunt, it works just like a sacrifice, and Chapman was trying to get to the ball and tag the runner before he got over to third base. He knew he didn't have a play at first base, and you can see Jeffers is able to safely reach third.
So the infield comes in for the Blue Jays, and here's Christian Vasquez. That one I think got fouled off maybe the left arm of Alejandro Kirk, and Vasquez, a fellow catcher, was checking with Kirk to make sure he was all right. Small fraternity. Umpire doing his fair share too to give Kirk a little bit of extra time. That's the first 4-hit game in the career of Royce Lewis. 2 of them infield hits. He might not stick around long at first. Runner goes from first. Hit sharply to Bichette, and with the runner going, his only play is to first. But they look the runner back at third, which is the big thing. 1 down.
Yeah, that was a pretty sharply hit ball right to Bo, and he chased the runner back before he unloads. He's got plenty of time. He got the ball so quickly, and Jeffers has to scamper back to third. But the runner was moving, and Bo recognized the only play he was going to have would be across the diamond.
So second and third, 1 out for Michael A. Taylor. Down and in, a ball and a strike. Tim Mays is now up in the pen again, and the left-handed hitting Alex Kirilloff's on deck. Fly ball to left field. Merrifield makes the catch. Here comes the runner. Here comes the throw, and Kirk couldn't squeeze it. Jeffers will score, and the Twins take the lead.
Witt made a heck of a throw right on the money, and Kirk had it momentarily but couldn't secure the baseball, and Witt made a heck of a throw. Ball is fairly deep in the outfield, and watch the throw all the way to home plate. Kirk takes the one hopper but can't secure it. It goes off of his catcher's mitt, and he did a heck of a job of cutting off the base path. And the ball takes him into the runner so he can go into the runner and get it. But he couldn't come up cleanly with the baseball as Jeffers comes in to score.
They'd have had him if he'd been able to. So Cimber out, Mesa in as Minnesota has taken the lead here in the 10th. The newest man into the game for the Blue Jays with 2 down and a runner at third, and the Twins having taken a 3-2 lead.
Yeah, unfortunately for Simber, he made a pretty good pitch. Whit Merrifield made a heck of a throw, and the Twins have taken the lead. Now, Mesa in to face the first baseman who came into the game as a pinch hitter, Alex Kirilloff. He pinch hit and struck out in the 8th.
Well, if Mesa can get him here, it's 1 run, but remember the Blue Jays start the bottom of the 10th with a runner out at second base. Lefty-lefty matchup, Mesa and Kirilloff, and a strike. '28th appearance of the season for Mesa, who brings a 1.69 ERA into this game. And an impressive strikeout to walk ratio of 5.5 to 1. Grounded down to first. Guerrero's got it and gets there in time. And the Twins are retired. They do take the lead at 3-2. Get a run at the top of the 10th. The Blue Jays coming up down 3-2. 1 to tie, 2 to win. Chapman to lead it off. And the pinch runner is Kevin Kiermaier. You can see he's got that left wrist wrapped up pretty good. He is running for Brandon Belt. So a far superior speedster out at second here. Let's see what Chapman can do with Duran.
Kiermaier's 2 for 2, stealing third base. And Duran, once he got the sign, he never looked back at Kiermaier.
Same thing, didn't look here.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And Lewis, the third baseman, is deep at third. You know, Kiermaier, I'm sure, assessing the situation here.
Castro's trying to keep him close, the second baseman. Catches the corner, 2-1. Grounded to short. Kiermaier's got to go back to the bag as Chapman is thrown out.
You know, Carlos Correa, we talk about what a poor start he's had to his season. One thing that never deviates for Correa, he can play shortstop. And as good as Chapman's arm is from third, Correa has the same type of arm from short.
Here's Whit Merrifield, who has seen a little bit of Duran back in his time with Kansas City. He's 1 for 3 against him. And Whit is more than happy to just try to take a hard fastball to the opposite field. He's not trying to do more than he's capable of here. Kiermaier the lead at second. 2-0 on Merrifield.
Well, we talk about Merrifield being a good high fastball hitter. He had a high fastball base hit off of Sonny Gray in the second inning.
In there for a strike, 2-1.
Breaking ball right there. He got it in the strike zone.
Remember, the Blue Jays had a golden opportunity in the bottom of the ninth. Second and third, nobody out. Couldn't score the winning run. The Twins get one, top 10. High curveball. He checked the swing, and it's 3-1. Duran will go for a little walk, go to the rosin bag. Got plenty of time on the pitch clock. And that's outside, ball 4. And now the Blue Jays have 2 great base runners on as Dalton Varsho comes up. Another meeting on the mound. I wonder if this is you better not forget about the base runners meeting here.
Well, he hasn't looked bad at all. And Correa, obviously the captain of the infield, coming in to remind the pitcher of the situation. Now you got 2 of their best base runners on, and as long as Kiermaier's been out there, Duran has not looked back once he gets set in his set position.
That's the tying run. Kiermaier out at second. The winning run is Merrifield at first. There's 1 out. And here's Varsho 0 for 4. Espinal's on deck. And then remember, Springer is now down in the 8th spot. He's behind him if they can get it that far. Curveball just outside, 1-0. And 1-1 as he threw him a hard fastball.
This is the first time Varsho has faced Duran. And he's got to get that fastball ready and make sure it's down. He chased a lot of pitches borderline high. Just bring him down into the zone.
Correa trying to keep Kiermaier close. Swing and a miss. 1-2. Got him another high fastball to strike out Varsho. 2 down.
Yeah, and we talk about his average fastball is 101 miles an hour, 4-seamer top of the zone, tough to lay off of, and you can see good life as that carries right through the zone, and Varsho swung underneath it.
So it's up to Santiago Espinal. Tonight is 1 for 2. He's also walked and been hit by a pitch. And it was Duran who hit him with a curveball an inning ago.
Yeah, he was the first batter that Duran faced starting the 9th.
Now to play right side, 1-1.
This is the 4th time this season Duran has thrown 2 innings.
36 pitches already. As you can see, he doesn't appear to have lost very much. This is the highest number of pitches he has thrown in any outing this season.
29 was his previous high.
Behind Espinal, 2-1 as they look on from the dugout. Popped up on the infield. Castro wants it, and the Twins win it. They score a run in the top of the 10th, snap their 5-game losing streak and the Blue Jays' 3-game winning streak as Minnesota beats the Blue Jays 3-2 in the opening game of this series.
Well, and the Blue Jays had plenty of opportunities. They will strand 12 in the game, and they went 1 for 13 with runners in scoring position. Had some opportunities, but sometimes you got to tip the cap to the bullpen, especially tonight with Duran and that 102-mile-an-hour fastball that wraps up the game for Minnesota.
So the Blue Jays will try to bounce back tomorrow afternoon in the middle game of this series. The Twins win tonight 3-2 in 10. Let's send you to Sportsnet Central with Martine and Faisal.